Okay, now we're ready to get started on this tricked out cherry cheesecake. Before we start, I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. We're going to bake the crust for 7 minutes at that temperature. Then when we pull the crust out, we're going to reduce it down to 325, and that's what we'll cook the cheesecake at. Okay, so for the crust, oh, also, make sure that while you're starting your crust, you want to have your other ingredients coming to room temperature, and that's what I have going on over there. We'll go through them in a bit. For the crust, I have 12 sheets of these graham crackers, 12 full sheets. So you put those in, and these are low-fat graham crackers, very important. This is one of the places where we're going to save some calories. And you're just going to pop these in your food processor and get them to a nice crumb consistency. So let's do that. All right, perfect. It's a nice thin crumb. That's all we need. So take the lid off, and now what we're going to do is just add in 3 other ingredients, and our crust is done. The first thing I'm going to add is this butter substitute. This is 1/3 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon of butter substitute. I really recommend you use this brand called Smart Squeeze. That's just my preference. You can save a few extra calories and some smidges of fat with this. Okay. Now I'm adding 3 packets of SPLENDA. This is just regular packets of SPLENDA. 3 is all you need. And finally, I want to add this stuff that I am in love with. It's a flavoring you can find in the supermarket. It's called butter vanilla nut flavoring, and it just has the most amazing flavor. It makes your whole house smell like birthday cake. I love it. So just going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of that. Okay, that's it. Now we're just going to put this back on. And I'm going to pulse it until it comes together, starts to kind of hold in little clumps. Okay, perfect. Now I have a 9.5-inch springform pan here, and I've pretty generously sprayed it with some non-stick cooking spray. So this is ready for the crust. Just pop this off and dump it in. I like to get every last drop. Now you just got to take your time and go into the pan, spread this out, and just start pressing. And we're going to press this crust till it's tight and all together, and it just goes up the sides of the pan, about 1/4 inch up the side, and it's just going to take a little bit of time. There's some variations you can make to this crust. There's actually countless variations you can make to this. A very simple one is if you're going to be topping this cheesecake with like peaches or something like maybe blueberries, you can always use the cinnamon low-fat graham crackers and maybe add a little cinnamon to the crust. You can also bump up the fiber in this if you want by maybe substituting some of the graham crackers with some fiber cereal or bran cereal, whatever you prefer. That really will bump up the fiber. You can get creative and just add, you know, basically whatever suits you. Okay, so this is pretty much done. As you can see, it's covered the whole thing. It's nice and compact and tight in there. So I'm ready to pop this in the oven. I'm going to throw it in the oven for 7 minutes, clean up the table, and we'll get started on the filling. Okay, so the buzzer just went off. It's been 7 minutes. I'm going to pull this out. And, you know, it's nice and golden brown. I'm just going to set this aside while we make the filling. I'm also going to reduce my oven temperature to 325 degrees now. I have a pan about this size and the bottom rung of the oven that I put in there. I just filled it with water, and I'm just leaving it on the bottom of the oven, and that's going to be really useful when we bake the cheesecake to just kind of keep the moisture levels high, and that'll prevent it from cracking. Okay, so now on to the filling. To start, we're going to use 4 packages or 36 ounces of fat-free cream cheese, and I prefer the Philadelphia brand. I think it just makes a better consistency. And what I have here is my electric mixer fitted with the paddle attachment. If you don't have this mixer or you don't have a paddle attachment, you can use a whisk. It's not a big deal. So we're going to dump this in, and you know, this is at room temperature, so that will just help it blend. Now I'm going to turn this on and get it going on low. This takes a little while. When it starts to soften up, you can go ahead and add the next ingredient. I'm using Splenda again. This is 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of Splenda. You can use sugar. You can use any kind of dry sweetener. I just happen to like this because it really brings down the calories. So we'll dump that in and just get it going again. You want to make sure you're using the Splenda granules for this and not the little packets. And if you are going to use sugar, it's just a 1-for-1 substitution. Okay, this is a great time for us to scrape down the bowl. And you want to try and scrape it down, you know, a few times during this. Make sure you get all the sides incorporated and any of the stuff stuck on the paddle. Just get in there and get it off. And now we can add our next ingredient. I have egg substitute. This is 1/2 of a cup of egg substitute, just the yellow stuff. Pour that in. And of course, give it another whirl. Now, as this is going, I'm going to add my flavorings. I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Use a good quality vanilla. And of course, I'm going to add a teaspoon of that vanilla butter nut flavoring that I adore. And this is a place where you can go nuts adding any kind of flavorings you like. You know, if you're going to be making a coconut flakes cheesecake, add coconut flavoring. You could add lemon, that's very traditional, add lemon to a cheesecake. Okay, now as that's going, I'm going to add my next ingredient. I have 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and this I'm going to put in and just hope I don't make a huge mess, because I always do. Just put that in a little bit at a time. I'm going to drop this down and dump it in. Okay. And now I'm going to just kind of let it come together. I'm going to increase the speed a little and scrape it down. The last ingredient to our filling is fat-free sour cream. This is 16 ounces or one of your average sour cream containers. And I'm just going to plop that in. Add this last because it's nice to have this keep its volume. So you just want to mix this until it's combined, but don't over mix it now. All right, that is it, my friends. Now we're just going to dump it in the springform pan. The pie crust has cooled down a little bit, so that's great. I'm going to get this out of here. And you just want to pour this in the pan. Okay, so what I'm doing when I'm putting this in is I'm just kind of piling it up in the center. And then after I get this all out of the bowl, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit, and then I'm going to show you this really cool trick. Okay. Oh, there's another. There we go. So I'm just going to kind of get it towards the sides so there's not a big pile in the middle. And then I'm going to get rid of this spatula. And this is good. You just kind of twirl it like this. Let gravity smooth it out nice. And then what you're going to do is grab a chopstick and just, you know, you can use a knife or whatever you have, and you're just going to start and zigzag through the batter, making big S motions, go in one direction and then the other. And this is going to prevent any air pockets from forming and causing this batter to crack in the oven. Okay, and now we're ready to bake it. I have the oven ready at 325 degrees. I have water in the oven on the bottom rung, kind of creating moisture. I'm going to put this in and time it for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I'm going to turn it once so that it browns evenly on top. Then I'm going to set it for another 25 minutes, at which time I'm just going to turn off the oven, open the door a little, and let it sit in there for like 40 minutes. All right, this is the best part. We're going to top our finished cheesecake. This is one that I actually made yesterday, and I've had it sitting overnight in the fridge. So I'm going to open it up and show you what it looks like. How good does that look, right? Okay, so now we're going to pop it out of the pan. So this is so easy. Just do that. I'm going to put it on this cute little pedestal that my great aunt gave me and top it with these no sugar added canned cherries. Now, as far as toppings go, you're really only limited by your imagination. You can use fresh fruit. You can use, some people like to put a bed of sour cream underneath their fruit. You can take fruit and then add a warm glaze with some, jam or jelly. You can use chocolate. That won't really be so healthy, but I can find a way to make it healthy, trust me. There we go. So now you just make it look good, move it around, and presto, tricked out cherry cheesecake.